Blazers, they put up a hell of a fight last night for a half.
It wasn't even a fight. They were winning. They were controlling the game.
Yeah, up by 10 at the break, and boy, how quickly it erased when DeAndre Ayton went down with a hand injury. He was a man possessed. And look, this has kind of been the trend that we've been talking about with DeAndre Ayton. When he is on the floor, especially when Ant and Jeremy Grant are there alongside him and they are hitting shots like they were in that first half. And oh boy, how that floor opens up when they are not going, 3 of 32 from three-point territory, even though they did cool down in that second half. They were 9 of 23 at half, and then one for 9 in the second half?
No, they missed more than that in the second half.
They did?
Yeah.
Because I thought they were hovering right around 50% at halftime. Yeah, so I think they were 9 of 18.
They were shooting really well in the first half.
And then they just went ice cold.
1 of 12.
Yeah, 1 of 12 in the second half. So they were 9 of 21 in the first half.
And the big part of that was once Ayton was out, the Miami Heat threw 2 guys at Jeremy and 2 guys at Ant and said, hey, anybody else? And so you had Ant and Jeremy putting up shots over 2 guys because other guys couldn't get anything done, and that's the way that stuff goes. That's what smart teams are doing. I mean, Anthony was the only guy who's getting blitzed more in the league right now than Anthony is Luka Doncic. And that's partly because that Ant can't handle the physicality of 2 guys, pushing up on him that far out. He's still working through that. And the other part is they want the ball out of his hands. They don't want him being the guy that breaks them. And Tumani had a great game last night, probably his best end-to-end game of the season. But, I mean, everybody else, you look at the box scores, man, and they didn't get any help from anyone. It was Ant, Jeremy, D.A., Tumani. That was after that, you're just kind of like, I mean, they tried to give Duop a chance. He starts the second half. The idea was like, hey, let's try to stretch the floor here. And Wap just couldn't hit threes, and defensively he's just not there, so they go with Jabari instead.
And now we're a couple games into Duop Reith. He's 0 for his last 6 from beyond the arc, and he's my green light. I every time he gets the ball, I say, shoot, just shoot. Duop Reith has that green light in my mind at all times. I'm not going to change that.
No, that's what he's supposed to do.
But it's not falling right now.
No, and Chris Murray's been out there, and he's got some confident stuff with his 3 right now. Defensively, he was really good. Decision-making, he was really good. He's got a hitch in his shot right now, a little hitch in his giddy-up, and what did he go, 0 for 6 from the field last night?
Look, let's get down to what the people want to hear, though. What in the world happened with you and the Miami fans on Twitter and the media that you've been at war with for almost a year now? It's been 9 months.
Yeah, honestly, it was pretty. They couldn't say anything in the first half
because you blocked them all.
No,
oh,
they just couldn't say anything in the first half. They had nothing to go. What are they going to say?
Yeah,
the Heat trade package had 6 points.
Yeah, Tyler Hero was not on the
Tyler
floor.
Hero was a DNP. Jaquez was cheeks. Jovic was non-existent. They finished with 15 points. That was the thing. It was like Tumani Kamara outplayed the Heat trade package. So
he did,
and
that is like the ultimate. Just like let's go. And then you saw DeAndre Ayton also in that first half. It was like things are working out in that regard.
Everything was
long term wins and losses. It's not.
No,
it's not. But there's far other greater issues for this team.
And last night, a few started to chirp after the game, and I was like, I thought about the Last Dance. The Michael Jordan with the baseball bat and the cigar. It's like I was chirping all night, good, bad, or otherwise. Because anybody can chirp while you're ahead. You get 0-0. That's when you got to do it.
It was I was really pulling for you at halftime. I was like, oh God, he's gonna be up all night. Like he'll just pull an all-nighter, just making sure that when everybody wakes up on the East Coast,
it's all there for him.
They're all gonna be there, and you're gonna remind them.
Through the fourth
you're
quarter.
gonna remind them throughout the course of the night. Hey, I just want to circle back to everything I said while you were in bed. Good morning, Miami.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't be there for the fourth quarter.
Dang.
You know that. But yeah, the bigger issue or the bigger problem now at hand is how serious is DeAndre Ayton's injury. Because, look, the quote-unquote lost season stuff, I don't know how much I lean into that, but you can make a case for it. With Shaden's injury, with Ant missing 20 games, with
Brogdon still out.
Brogdon being out, with Time Lord getting hurt. Like, it's just everything that you wanted to see, you haven't. Scoot being out, you just haven't gotten any consistency.
This is more of a natural tank than even last year was when.
Oh yeah,
Dame
this is
went
just
down.
this is just happening. That's what it is. But if DA's injury is relatively serious, I'm not talking like surgery, but like he's out for 3 or 4 weeks. At that point, why not shut down Jeremy? Why not shut down Malk? Why not shut down Ant?
And then
let all the kids just go.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, the reason why you don't do it is because you can't do that anymore because of league rules, but there's legitimate reasoning injury-wise.
Yeah,
why
I mean,
these
Jeremy's
guys
been dealing with a back. Obviously, Malcolm's dealing with his elbow. I mean, it's not hard to find those. I'm not saying do that right now, but if it comes back that DA's banged up is going to be out for any consistent amount of time.
Well, I think then you go to, all right, this now turns into don't come back until you're 100%.
No,
however long that is. If it's 3 to 4 weeks, then maybe it's 5 weeks because you just sit there and you say, make sure you're 100%. We don't want to push anything back. And I think that's what you're going to see is a lot more caution.
Which is what they're doing with Scoot. So Chauncey Billups mentioned before the game that Scoot was out, hasn't done on-court stuff yet. They are being violently careful with him because there's now been 5 surgeries on the adductor groin / injury. There's an outside chance that he does play on this upcoming road trip, probably the last game in Minnesota. They had 2 in Memphis and then 1 in Minnesota. But I would imagine if he doesn't play in Minnesota, he plays when he comes back. Like, it's not like they're being careful, but they're not like he's, it's a little bit of a problem. It's they're just slow playing the living.
That under 28.5 is looking a lot better now.
I told you. Remember, we picked our second half lines. What was it, 7.5? 7.5 wins in the second half, and I told you under? Yeah. Yeah.